In this video, we'll cover the Angular language service. Angular in JavaScript is very lenient. Even though we're using TypeScript, some bugs can still slip through our application. For example, our product class does not have an ID property defined, but we can still assign data to it. What? So if you noticed in some of our previous videos, if you were very observant, over on the left-hand side, we had the JSON that was being passed back from the Spring Data REST application. And then this data was being mapped over to a product class on the TypeScript side. We had a kind of one-to-one mapping on these properties here. However, there was no ID field in our product class on the TypeScript side, but our application still worked and we didn't have any errors in the browser console. Interesting. And we also reference the product ID for our master detail view. So in our application, when we create links to go to the details page, we'd say tempProduct.id. So we would access the ID property. But again, we just saw the source code in the product class where that field doesn't exist. However, our app still worked and there were no errors in the browser console. Ideally, we'd like to add more compile time checks for our application. So the Angular team provides the Angular language service, and this service provides additional support for compilation errors, code completions, and so on. The link on the slide takes you to the official website for the Angular language service. All right, so a bit more here on the Angular language service. It's available as an extension for the code editors like Visual Studio Code, WebStorm, etc. We'll install the extension in Visual Studio Code. Simply go to Menu option, go to View Extensions. You search for Angular language service. It'll give you a list of extensions here, and you select the one for Angular language service and do an install. And it'll install it and give you some nice compilation errors and code completion and so on. And we'll actually move into our IDE and we'll go through this process. All right, so we actually have a bug in our application. So in our product class, we don't have an ID property defined. And in our product list grid component.html, we would set up our router links for master detail view and we'd make use of that ID property. But our app still worked and there were no errors in the browser console. So let's just run our app real quick. I can access it in the browser and I can go look at the console. And so right now I just have my normal logging stuff. I kind of just jump around in the application, try some links. And the app still works. No errors in the browser console. Even doing master detail view, no errors. Strange. I can even go through and do a search. And again, no errors. So basically, JavaScript and Angular, very lenient, where you can actually access fields in certain cases that are not actually defined. So we need some way of avoiding this issue because it could cause some big problems down the road. And this is the part with full stack development where I really miss the Java language. In the Java world, our compiler works as advertised, and we wouldn't have scenarios like this. But anyways, I really miss Java. But now let's kind of focus back on Angular, TypeScript, and JavaScript. So in our IDE here, we can install the extension for the Angular language service. And up top, we type in Angular language service. Select that item. I'll kind of swing over here. Again, make sure that this is the one from the Angular dev team. It says Angular. And then hit install. Okay, great. So once it's installed, we can kind of close off that item there. Zoom out for a second. And let me zoom in here at the bottom and yay, we have errors. This is good. And it says, oh, good stuff. Identifier ID is not defined. Product does not contain such a member. Yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. Please tell me about this bug. Yes. And then we can also take a look at the details here. So they'll tell you that this happens on line 11, starting at column 53, and also on line 15, column 53. So this is pretty good. So great. So I'm getting the error messages as desired. Whew, just the simple things. So we can resolve this, right? It's very simple, very easy to fix. Just define that given property, ID, and we'll define it as a string. And now we save it. You can notice here at the bottom, no errors or no problems. That's great. And we can go back to our HTML and no more issues. So this is really good. So that part helps us out with just finding compilation errors or issues in our application. So anyway, swing into our application, everything works as desired, everything's good to go, just like before, but we've kind of just cleaned up our code a bit in the background and removed some issues that could have possibly caused more problems in the future. And this is all thanks to using that Angular language service. And we can simply view that extension here again. So I'll just simply go to View Extensions, and then I can choose Show me all of my installed extensions. And we can see that the Angular language service is the only extension I have installed right now. So I like to say, good job, my friend.